Your future is garbage! Hello everybody, welcome back to 42.8 Shibuya Scramble. I keep wanting to say Shibuya Crossing. That is not correct. But in the last part, we got a bunch of dead ends. And the mystery, I'm pretty sure hasn't truly started yet. I feel like there's going to be something, like, massive that ends up happening. But, right now, it is very interesting. The girl was still there. She was staring in the direction of the man. Okay. Another crazy day at Shibuya. Achi couldn't shake the feeling that something was very wrong. Maybe he should talk to her and ask what was going on. But just as he was making up his mind, a middle-aged man in a ratty business suit shuffled awkwardly over to her first. There was something wrong with one of his legs. Oh, was there something wrong with one of his legs? He was using a cane to walk. Then one of his hands slipped into his jacket pocket. Achi could scarcely believe his eyes. A revolver? A Cult Detective Special, a .38 caliber revolver introduced in 1927 by Cult's Manufacturing Company. A classic example of a snub-nosed revolver, as the name implies, the weapon is frequently carried by detectives, narcotics officers, and the like for self-defense. Suddenly, a young man came running through the crowd. Seeing him, the man with the cane turned on his heel and vanished in the scramble. Something big was going down. What is all this? The young man was closing in on the girl, his expression grim. That guy's up to no good. Achi sprang into motion. Hey-ya! Leaping high, Achi delivered a flying kick right between the man's shoulder blades. The guy went down, but recovered surprisingly fast, spinning back to his feet to grapple with Achi. What the hell is your problem? What the hell is your problem, man? Achi snapped. The two stood staring each other down as the crowd swirled around them. Let go of me. You let go of me first. After you let go of me, sure. You first, pal. Don't you call me pal, man. Don't call me man, pal. Neither man was willing to yield. The crowd was parted to avoid scuffle. Passersby were staring from all sides. Well, crap. Achi got a sudden sinking feeling. What the hell am I doing? Jumped it up in my head as usual. His anger melted away. He loosened his grip. Without further argument, the other man let go of Achi's jacket. Turning quickly away, the stranger hurried over to the statue of Hachiko, where he dropped to his knees, dejected. The girl who'd been standing there was nowhere to be seen. Maybe this was the guy she'd been waiting on? The guy was clearly upset that she was missing. Achi actually felt kind of bad for him. He decided it would be wise to leave while the guy's attention was elsewhere. He hurried back along the road to his house. The wind had gone out of his sails, and he didn't feel much like cleaning up trash anymore. Ah well, guess I'll read some manga and go to bed. Better play it safe before the day got any worse. Tussle with a stranger. Achi's interference with the young man, it was Kano, disrupted the detective's sting. If Achi hadn't acted on impulse when he saw Kano heading for Hitomi, things might have gone differently, but how can you make sure Kano doesn't return to Scramble and startle Achi? The key lies further along in Kano's story. Alright. So now we're not going back to Hitomi. We are going to follow the man. You have to get the guy ASAP. Darted down a narrow hallway. Kano ran faster.
Man sprinted to the side streets. Eventually, he knew his way around Shibuya pretty well. He noticed two people over by a trash pile. At first, they appeared to be a young couple. Then, looking more closely, he realized that the girl was Hitomi. Mr. Kuze, I've located Hitomi Osawa. The couple took off running. The rough-looking guy drags Hitomi by the hand. She's with a man in his 20s.
It looks like she's being led away against her will. Clarify, please, Kuze demanded. What's going on? I'm not sure. Was this guy a member of some criminal group? It looked like the two were running away from something. Alright, we'll handle the foreigner. You go after Hitomi. Got it. Kano sprang into action. Stop right there! The young man glanced back at Kano, but rather than stopping, he picked up speed, continuing to drag Hitomi along with him. She didn't seem quite able to keep up. Kano knew he could catch them. He tried to close the distance in a sprint. After a short distance, the young man stopped, realizing he could outrun his pursuer. Shielding Hitomi behind him, he glowered at Kano. Why did you run off? Kano demanded. Because you were chasing us! A blatant lie. People didn't just bolt like that without good reason. The young tough started edging away, keeping Hitomi behind him. Kano followed. Look, just let the girl go. The guy glanced back at Hitomi. She shook her head, fearfully. Maybe this troublemaker had warned her to keep her mouth shut? You've got this, Kano. Just don't let them out of your sight. Gah! A sudden blow to the top of his head left him staggering. His eyes spun as he reeled with vertigo. There was a flapping sound and a vague black shape wheeled above him. Was that a crow? No, it's a book. Big fucking book. It was the last thing Kano saw before his vision went dark. Was that a crow? In the midst of chasing the man who snatched the attache case, Kano happened across Hitomi and Achi. While confronting them, he suffered a blow to the head that was knocked out cold, but Achi only came this way because he thought it was the quickest way to escape with Hitomi. If he'd gone for the police box instead, things might have gone differently. Gosh, there's so fucking much. Hang on. Is there a thing that catalogs all the endings I've gotten thus far? Alright. What's the deal? Alright, so we'll head back here. Something was very wrong. Maybe you should talk to her and ask what was going on. But just as he was making up his mind, a middle-aged man in a ratty business suit shuffled forward. Was there something wrong with one of his legs? He was using a cane to walk. Then one of his hands slipped into his jacket pocket. Achi could scarcely believe his eyes. A revolver. With a single, fluid motion, the man lifted up the gun and pointed it in the girl's direction. He was aiming right for her head. Huh? The girl had noticed the man with the cane now. Seeing the gun pointed right at her, she froze in fear. Achi didn't hesitate. Breaking into full run, he tackled the gunman with all his might. Caught off guard, the man sprawled to the pavement. But the would-be assassin kept hold of his weapon and quickly scrabbled back to his feet. Achi knew he had to act fast. He grabbed the ashen-faced girl by the arm and attempted to drag her away. "This way!" he shouted. She just stared at him, uncomprehending, trembling like a startled animal. "Come on, run!" Finally, the girl snapped out of her daze and gave a fearful nod. "The police box, let's go. Let's just get out of here." The would-be assassin was getting back to his feet. Achi grabbed the girl by the hand. "Run!" Without so much as a backward glance, he led her beneath the railway overpass for the
Yamanote Line. They needed to get as far away as possible, fast.
Their best bet was to head toward the east side of the station. It was less crowded there. It would be easier to run. Don't worry, you can trust me. Dragging the hesitant girl behind him, he took off through the crowd. Suddenly, it dawned on him that he still held the trash bag in his other hand. You know this thing's gonna be a real pain in my ass.
Achi paused, had long enough to toss the trash to a garbage bin as they passed by a park, then took off again. Someone shouted from behind, "Stop right there!" Achi looked back in alarm to see a stranger charging after them. It was one of the guys in the crowd who had run after the Attache Case snatcher. You gotta be kidding me, now he's chasing us? Whoever he was young and fit, gaining fast. Realizing the girl could never outrun this guy, Achi stopped abruptly. Shielding her behind him, he turned to face the stranger.
Why did you run off? Because you were chasing us. The other fellow eyed Achi skeptically. Maybe he was a buddy of the man with the cane? Keeping his guard up, Achi began to back away. Look, just let the girl go. The guy was acting like he knew her. Achi glanced back, but the girl only shook her head, wide-eyed. The other man's posture shifted, preparing to lunge, but as Achi braced himself for a scuffle, something came crashing down upon the stranger's head. Gah! His eyes wobbled and spun in their sockets, and he collapsed in a heap on the ground. And there, standing behind him, was the girl he'd helped out earlier, the one he'd saved from the hustlers. Hey, you're that girl from this morning. Are you okay? Next to the fallen pursuer's form was a rather thick book. She nodded toward it. He looked dangerous, so I just threw that at him. Oh, yeah, thank you. This saves my bacon big time. The least I could do after the way you... It's the least I could do after the way you helped me earlier. Sure thing. You should probably get out of here before the guy comes to. Like you said, he's probably dangerous. Right. I just scooped up the heavy book and handed it to the girl, who promptly left the scene.
Now we better get out of here. The girl nodded. They started down the street, only to see the man with the cane around the corner a few dozen meters ahead. This is not good. The assassin had spotted them, and he hurried in their direction. This way! Achi led the girl into a nearby alleyway. But this way's a dead end, the girl said breathlessly. Like I said, just trust me. Stopping abruptly, Achi kicked down a wooden planks covering a gap between the two buildings, clearing a space that a person could fit through. See? We can get away through here. In you go! The girl just stood there, looking terrified. What's the matter? Achi asked. Come on, gotta hurry! But I... She looked at him as if he, too, was about to pull a gun on her. He could hardly blame her. After all, he was just some random guy who had turned up out of nowhere. But this was no time for dawdling. The man with the cane appeared at the end of the alley. If they stood there, he was going to catch them. Okay, sweetheart, hear me out, he said in a rush. My name's Achi Endo. I live in the neighborhood, and I'm not the kind to stand idly by when a girl is being chased by some killer. So please, just trust me, and I'll do my best to keep you safe. He hoped the look in his eyes could convince her he was being on the level. After a painfully long moment, the girl nodded her acceptance. Phew. Right, let's start with this. They had paused beside an enormous stack of beverage crates. With a quick shove, Achi knocked the whole pile down, sending it cascading across their pursuer's path. Now that was a close call. The man with the cane was floundering, struggling to get past the fallen crates. My bad, man, Achi called out. Mind cleaning that up for me? The man scowled back at them and fumbled for his gun. Achi flashed him a wave of goodbye, then slipped away between the buildings with the girl.
Hurrying down a narrow alley, they emerged onto a side street lined with dive bars and clubs. Assuming the man with the cane hadn't given up, he would probably lie in wait on the path back to the main road. Achi decided their best bet was to try to stay inconspicuous rather than risk getting caught on the move. Guess we can lie low for a bit, he said. He led the girl to the entrance of a tiny old hostess club. She followed him reluctantly. Achi flicked the switch inside the front door, and a chintzy chandelier glowed to life. He sat the girl down on the small sofa beside the counter. She gave him a worried look. Achi felt a pang of embarrassment as he realized what she must be thinking. Oh no, don't get the wrong idea. I'm not trying any funny business. Someone I know used to run this place. It's not in business anymore, so I figure we're safe here. The girl chuckled at his evident discomfort. All right then, she said. So, we good? We're good. Okay. Well, good. Achi made a vague attempt to straighten his disheveled clothes. So how about some introductions? I'm Achi Endo, like I said earlier. You can just call me Achi. I'm Hitomi Damn it. Yeah. I'm Hitomi Osawa. You can call me Hitomi, I guess. With each new word out of Hitomi's mouth, Achi felt his heart sing. She was charming, personable. Just about everything about her was captivating. Achi had never met another girl like her. Achi? Blah! Is something the matter? You were spacing out there for a bit. Achi shook his head and dispelled his daze. Damn it, there's no time to get all starry-eyed. He needed to think of some way to keep her safe from the guy who was after her. Yeah, damn it. Look, can you tell me what the heck is going on? Please. I need to know if I'm going to help you. Right. Okay. I'm not really sure where to begin. Hitomi looked down, lost in thought. Apparently hers was a long story. All right, she said at last. I guess I'll just explain things as they happened. Wait, hold up. Could you keep it as simple as you can? I mean, I'm not really the sharpest tool in the shed. Complicated explanations ain't exactly my strong suit. Okay, Hitomi chuckled. I'll try my best. She got comfortable and then started her story. So, last night, somebody abducted my sister. The kidnapper demanded that I make the ransom handoff personally. He told me to stand by the statue of Hachiko in Shibuya at 10 o'clock in the morning to make the exchange. So I did. And this man came by and took the Attache... Whoa, I'm sorry. Hold up a second. Achi had suddenly lost the thread of the conversation. At times like this, you can go back and read what you've already seen. You can also quickly back through it. Okay. Make the exchange. So I did, and this man came by and took the Attache case with the money, and then afterwards that other guy with the cane turned up and pointed the gun at me, and... Could you say that again, but like, simpler? Huh? Sure. I'm just having trouble following is all. I mean, is this the plot to some movie or soap opera? No, that's not some kind of hidden camera show. This is real. This really happened. The look into Tomi's eyes was dead serious. She's gotta be telling the truth. What would be the point of lying? And he had seen the Attache case and the gunman himself. How much was the ransom, if you don't mind me asking? Hitomi hesitated. 50 million yen, she said after a moment. Achi gave a whistle of amazement. The detectives told me that was a typical amount for a kidnapper to ask for. It's plenty, that's for sure. I guess there's good money in that sort of thing. As soon as the words were out, he realized his blunder. Sorry, I shouldn't have put it that way. He fidgeted awkwardly, and Hitomi looked away. I'm an idiot, but okay, I think I get this kidnapping thing. So I'm guessing those guys who chased the guy who took the ransom were undercover cops? He replayed the scene in his head. But then, the kidnapper took the Attache case and ran, right? So if you were empty-handed, why'd that guy with the cane come after you? I'm honestly not sure. Hitomi's words trailed off. This was clearly difficult for her to talk about. Anyway, we should probably get you to the police as soon as we... No, we can't do that. Hitomi's tone was resolute. I can't take this to the police. Why not? Achi waited for an answer, but none came. After a long and awkward silence, she stood up from her seat. Damn it. I keep fucking yawning. Damn it! Ah! Alright. I really appreciate the help, but I should go now. She gave Achi a deep bow. Nuh-uh, hold on. What do you mean, go? Go where? He hurried and intervened as she headed for the door. I don't want to cause you any more trouble. I'll figure the rest out on my own, somehow. Hey, I said hold on! Hitomi ignored him and opened the door, and their argument came to an abrupt halt. Standing there was the man with the cane, his revolver in his hand. To be continued. Achi Endo's 10 o'clock story ends here, however Kano's story is still stuck at a bad end. This is due to one of Achi's decisions. Go back to Achi's decision point at 10:35 and change the choice he made. In order to change Kano's fate, this way Achi's choice can help someone else while his own story remains resolved. The key to getting all the characters through to the end is to go back and change choices from characters that have already made it through the current hour of their story. Okay.
The police box! Let's go! Still pulling the girl by the hand, Achi headed for the police box outside the train station. But it was empty. There was always policemen staffing these things. Why did it have to be unmanned now? Achi flashed a worried glance behind him and saw the assassin in pursuit like a man possessed. Yikes, this is not good. There was nothing they could do but run. With the frightened girl in tow, Achi ran beneath the J.R. Yamanote, a line railway overpass. A railway loop line that services the Tokyo metropolis. Typically, the morning rush is quite intense, with the stretch from Ueno Station to Okachimachi Station, sometimes crowded as high as 216% capacity, roughly 300 people riding in a space designed for 143 passengers, unrelated to the Yamate Line subway that operates in the city of Kobe. Don't worry, just trust me, he told her. But first... They sped past a convenience store where an employee was cleaning up the sidewalk. Here, take this, will ya? Achi tossed over the bag of trash. Huh? Wait, what? This way. They slipped through the crowd and into a nearby back alley. But this way's a dead end, the girl said breathlessly. Like I said, just trust me. Stopped abruptly, Achi kicked down a wooden plank covering a gap between two buildings, clearing a space so the person could fit through. In you go. Terrified, what's the matter? Come on, we gotta hurry. Save text. They're weighted.
I think it is the same, isn't it? I think it's literally just the same. Okay. I think it's just the same, so I'm gonna head back here. Tailing the foreigner.
Gotta read faster. Scooted through the side street. Ugh. Here we go. The man shot out onto a major thoroughfare, then bolted up a pedestrian bridge. Just where the heck was this guy heading? Halfway across the bridge, the man stopped abruptly. Cautiously, Kano stopped as well. height roughly 190 centimeters, age 30, hair dark brown, clothing all black. A moment later, the man flashed a triumphant sneer as he held the attache case. Before Kano could yell stop, it was already too late. The man threw the attache case down to the roadway below.
No! Panicking, Kano peered over the railing. A man on a motorcycle was waiting beneath the bridge. I've been had. Kano bit his lip hard. Damn it! Kano sprinted back down the bridge, hearing the bike's engine roar to life. He had to make it in time. Descending the stairs, 4 at a time, he leapt toward the roadway, but the bike sped out of reach, and roared away in the direction of Yoyogi, leaving Kano in its dust. Looking back at the overpass, he saw the man who threw the attache case running away. He handed the money off to someone else. He's currently on a motorcycle heading toward Yoyogi. He repeated his report to Kuze complete. Kano slumped down in dismay. The cops had played right into the criminal's hands. Now the crooks were getting away, and people's lives were in danger. Was there any greater failure for a policeman? Staring off into the distance where the man had thrown the case had disappeared, Kano gritted his teeth. Is this a bad end? No, to be continued. There we go. I got everyone to be continued, so does that mean the story continues? You finished reading both character stories for the hour of 10 o'clock in 428. You'll make the protagonist's way through all the protagonist stories in parallel like this. Once everyone has reached the end of a given hour, the next hour can begin. Okay.
Can we drop the pleasantries? Sir, this is a waste of time. I've got work for you. It's like totally bogus. What makes any of this my crime? 11 to 12. 42-8.
Shibuya Scramble.
I got an achievement. Welcome to Shibuya.
This is the end of the tutorial for this part of the story. You can reread previous tutorial message via the main menu. There's a lot of important info in there, so reread it closely. Now, 42.8 has reached the 11 o'clock time block. You have 5 protagonists available. Whose stories will you read first? Oh, wait! Yeah. Sawa. Minorikawa. Osawa. Tama. Does their name spell out anything? Kept home? Ow. Interesting. Previous time blocks are shown above. Protagonist actions can only affect other protagonists within the same time block, as indicated by the red circle on the chart. Decisions made in one time block do not impact storylines in different hours. If you get stuck, make sure to check decisions and jump points for the current time block. Okay. I think I'm going to definitely want to do Achi's first. Oh, I can even, read what it's called. At gunpoint, error in judgment, frantic email, handing out samples. Interesting. Okay. The man with the cane aimed his gun at Hitomi, his face devoid of emotion. Please, the girl said, trembling. Why are you doing this? But the man did not reply. Quickly, Achi stepped in between Hitomi and the gun, spreading his arms wide. Stop, he said in English, one of the few English words he knew. He quickly reverted back to Japanese. Who the hell are you? Still the man did not respond. You know this guy, Hitomi? No. Achi was sure he'd never seen the man either. What are you after? Money? Because if you are, boy, are you wasting your time chasing us. The man furrowed his brow, adjusting his point of aim to Achi's face. His bloodthirsty gaze left Achi no doubt that he was willing to pull the trigger. Reflexively, Achi took a step back, his foot clattering against a discarded beer bottle. I'm going to get done down for sure, unless we could find a way to catch this guy off guard. It didn't need to be much. If Achi could just distract the gunman for a moment, buy himself the briefest window. Shoot me then! Go on, do it! He stepped forward as he shouted, hoping the provocation would confuse the guy for just long enough. Even as Achi moved, the gunman's attention was distracted for an instant by a sudden sound. The phone in his breast pocket was ringing. Seeing his chance, Achi... I feel like the beer bottle is correct. I'm gonna try to... Seeing his chance, Achi lunged forward in an attempt to wrest the gun away. He reached out with both hands, attempting to knock it to the floor. The man's grip on the weapon was stronger than he expected. However, and he shoved Achi away with surprising force. The gunman's posture radiated ferocious determination. His eyes, though, were like a dead man's, wide and hollow. It was unsettling, to say the least. Who the heck is this guy? Hitomi! Achi shouted. Get out of here, now! But Hitomi was rooted in place with terror. Run! Snapping out of it at last, she bolted for the door. She paused in the doorway to look back at him. Achi. The hell are you waiting for? Achi snarled. Get out of here, now! Finally, Hitomi slipped out of the building. At some point, the assassin had managed to snatch up a beer bottle in his free hand. Uh-oh. Achi tried to duck, but he was a hair too slow. The makeshift weapon caught him in the left ear. He staggered, his head spinning, barely able to tell which way was up. His vision dimmed, and still he refused to yield. He headbutted the man in the nose as hard as he could. The assassin staggered backwards. Then all the remaining strength left Achi's body. Beaten up by the man with the cane. Achi tried to fight a dangerous assassin unarmed, but the man turned out to be more than he could handle. There's got to be some better way to get out of there. Try choosing a less risky course of action. A less risky course of action, huh? I feel like the least risky course would just be to fucking book it. I think. Wow! Seeing his chance, Achi. I'm gonna stick to my guns and think the beer bottle is actually the correct course. So I'm gonna say, grab Hitomi and run. Hitomi! Achi grabbed Hitomi and ran.
Charged the man in the doorway, kicking at the cane he leaned on. The assassin lost his balance and stumbled to the left. Run! Still holding Hitomi's hand, Achi rushed out of the club. The two sprinted away the side street. Through the side street and alleys of Shibuya, Achi began to feel as if they were running some maddening maze. Before long, the two had made it almost as far as Aoyama. Wait up! Huh? Achi, wait up! Achi glanced back at Hitomi. My bad. My bad. Guess we've been running pretty hard. You tired? Hitomi shook her head. No, it's just, I have to get to Dogenzaka. Dogenzaka? What for? What could she possibly need to do there? Now?
It's what I was told when I handed over the Attache case. The man leaned in to whisper to Hitomi as he reached out for the case. You're going to do exactly as I tell you. 2 things. He wore a cool, feigned smile as if it were some casual conversation. First, you're going to go to Dogenzaka and get in the blue van there. Hitomi nodded wordlessly. Second, you will not attempt to contact either the police or your family in the meantime. His chilling tone brooked no argument. Never. Just those 2 things, and we'll let your sister go. Hitomi nodded again, and the man flashed her a big, bright grin. Okay then. Give me the money. A blue van in Dogenzaka, huh? Achi muttered. So that's why you said the police were a no-go. Yes, exactly. Hitomi's voice betrayed her desperation. I wonder if your sister's in the van, then. She is. Oh, if she is, then we've got to hurry. The issue lay in how to get to Dogenzaka. They could probably avoid their pursuer if they kept to the streets only the locals usually knew about. That meant staying off the more well-trafficked routes like Roppongi Dori or the stretch between Miyamasuzaka and the station. The side roads south of the station were their best bet. It's going to be a long detour. Alright, come on. Turning, Achi headed back the way they'd come. After a moment's confusion, Hitomi followed. Achi? There was a note of worry in her voice. Hey, don't sweat it. I actually live in Dogenzaka. We're heading right back to my old neighborhood. Hitomi bowed her head. Thank you so much. Hey, it's no problem. I had to head home anyway. Achi gave her a grin, and she cracked a tiny smile of her own. Hey, you two. You got a minute? Achi looked around, and a pair of men approached them across the street. There was something shady looking about them. Achi's protective instincts kicked in, and he stepped in front of Hitomi. If these guys meant trouble, he wanted to be ready. We just want to ask you something. The younger of the 2 men drew in closer, a sharp gleam in his eye. Achi braced himself. Ask us what? You know where the Nokane building is? The man held up a flyer. It was some sort of health food sales demo. Come on, man, the Nokane building. You know where it is or not? Achi knew the name. Wasn't that one of the buildings on Center Gai? That was near Dogenzaka, the same direction he was going. I feel like these guys are actually going to help us. So, fuck off. I don't like the thought of these 2 following Hitomi and me. Achi pointed them in the opposite direction from Center Gai. Pretty sure it's that way, he said. Thanks, man. Sorry to bug you. The 2 men headed off toward the main road. Achi and Hitomi hurried onward, following the sparsely trafficked side streets toward Dogenzaka. I don't think I even knew this part of Shibuya was here, Hitomi said as she looked around. Yeah, a lot of people don't. I used to mess around in this neighborhood when I was a kid. The area was a mishmash of rundown residences and office buildings. Almost nobody ever comes here unless they live or work on one of these streets. Check it out! Over there, a rare first-hand glimpse of the Shibuya River. A minor river that runs from the Miyamatsu Bridge to the Tengen Bridge, depicted in the 36 Views of Mount Fuji by Edo period ukiyo-e artist Hokusai. In Hokusai's time, fireflies were collected from the Shibuya River and presented to the shogun, lending credence to the idea that the river was indeed clean in the past. Have you always lived in Shibuya, Achi? Yep, born and raised. Achi bent down to pick up a piece of trash from the roadside. That's why I do this. Just pissing me off to see folks make a mess of this place. He picked up another piece of trash. I don't have a job, so I just pick up garbage every day. Man, what am I even doing? My cleanup even matters right now. Hitomi took a long, hard look at his face. What? He demanded. What is it? You're a strange one, Achi. That so? She was right, of course. It was sort of strange, collecting trash every day instead of getting a job. He had his reasons for it, but they weren't important right now. Right now, the important thing was getting Hitomi to Dogenzaka. Come on, he murmured. A sudden angry shout broke the silence as they hurried along. Hey! Hold it right there! Achi and Hitomi stopped, but the shout wasn't directed at them. Further up the road, a group of thuggish-looking men were having some kind of an argument. The man who was shouting had grabbed one of the others by the neck. Idiots! And you still got the gall to call yourselves SOS! The Studs of Shibuya? A young gang operating out of Shibuya, founded by Achi Endo. Its current leader is Susumu Nishizawa. I mean, yeah, Susumu, but the other man standing around looked distinctly uncomfortable. It takes money to run an organization. No, I know. And since it's not like you're Achi or anything, I thought you could maybe spare some help on that front, boss. Top dog, the man in charge, the head honcho. Here it refers to the leader of SOS, Susumu. A change in leadership can really shake up an organization. The new boss's personality and disposition are a huge factor in whether the group continues to prosper. The fact that Susumu is being asked to spare some help on the monetary front suggests that he still has things to learn about being in charge. Hitomi looked at Achi when the stranger spoke his name. He smiled awkwardly, then turned back to the altercation. Shut your mouth! Susumu barked. How dare you say Achi's name in my presence? Hey! Achi called out. What was that about, me? As soon as they saw him, the other men went pale. Achi kept his tone casual as he strolled up to the group. Susumu, you can't just give the guy a beatdown in broad daylight. To mess someone up super bad, usually with punches and kicks. Don't want to shock the upstanding people of our fair city. Achi, Susumu glared. Can we drop the pleasantries? Aye, Achi replied with a hint of a sneer. You got it, Susumu. And I'd like to point out we're not on a first-name basis. With that, Susumu turned and stalked away. His buddies followed suit, leaving Achi and Hitomi alone again. Did you know that guy? Hitomi asked. His name's Susumu Nishizawa. And yeah, I know him. I thought I did. Used to be friends way back. Me and those guys were all part of the same crew, but I bailed a little while ago. Achi fell silent. To his great relief, Hitomi didn't pry further. Achi and Hitomi had gone a short distance further when he caught sight of a man picking something up alongside the train tracks. Huh? I wonder. Achi went over to him. Hey man, you picking up trash by any chance? Huh? The man let out a panicked shout. Taisei Yasuda, 35 years old, just opened up a knick-knack shop in Shibuya. Achi knows Shibuya like his own backyard, but this Yasuda guy is new enough that Achi doesn't recognize him. Sorry, it just kind of looked like that's what you're doing. Oh, yeah, I'm picking up trash, of course. The guy seemed pretty unnerved. Like, I just got to thinking, man, this place is filthy. Right on! Achi claps the man's hand to his own. Someone else who gets it. They do? Totally! I see all this trash all over the place and I can't stand it. Oh yeah, sure. The man breathed a sigh of relief. I can't stand it when someone throws something away when it can still be useful. I hear that. That's the spirit. Ha ha! Achi pulled out the trash he had stuffed in his pocket. Here you go. Huh? Go ahead and have all of it. The man looked dumbfounded. Usually I go around picking up the trash around here. But I've got a little thing I gotta do today. You got it from here. I'm counting on you. What? Actually, I'm kind of... Great, thanks! Achi beamed in approval, then rejoined Hitomi and headed on down the street. The man let out a sigh. Fine. Slipping through a narrow back alley, they came out near the top of Dogenzaka. Ashi looked down the hill but didn't see a blue van anywhere. He and Hitomi started making their way down toward Shibuya Station. Hitomi muttered to herself, "I don't see it parked around here." Her face twisted up with worry. It was a lot harder to find street parking close to the station. "Hitomi, hold up." Ashi had a sudden idea. He darted into a nearby soba restaurant, motioning for Hitomi to follow. "Heya!" Oh, "Heya!" he called out to his proprietress, a sharp-eyed middle-aged woman. "You're looking as lovely as ever today, I see." "Oh, Achi! Are you done collecting trash for the day?" The lady took a look at Hitomi, her eyes lighting up. "Maki Yoneda? When she was 19, she happened to stop by this place and was captivated by the chilled curry soba. By day's end, she had decided to make the restaurant her new home, married the owner at age 22, and they managed the establishment together. Last year, her husband of 30 years passed away. Now she safeguards the generations-old secret of chilled curry soba on her own." "Is this your girlfriend?" "Huh? Oh, no, it's nothing like that." The proprietress was undeterred. "Oh, she looks just like a model. She's the spitting image of me at that age. My, my, my. Achi's got himself a girlfriend." "I said it's not like that." The woman waved Hitomi over. "Now you know Achi's got a bit of a mouth on him, and he's not the sharpest tool in the shed. But he's a sweet boy." Okay." Hitomi forced a polite smile to her face. "He'll try to deny it, but don't you listen. Has he told you about Zune?" "Ma'am, please," Achi jumped into the conversation. "You gotta hear me out. Whatever's the matter, I'm just trying to Whatever's the matter? I'm just trying to tack up your good points." "Have you seen a van parked around here?" "A van? Let me think. Yes, come to think of it, there was. A blue one," she added confidently. Hitomi leaned forward. "Where is it now?" she asked. Well, I'm not really sure. I don't keep a close eye on things outside, after all." Hitomi slumped. "I see. I know it doesn't look it, but I've been quite busy today. The man who makes my noodles came by earlier to settle accounts, and we fought and fought over it. No need for finances, that one. That's his problem, honestly. And on top of that, of course, my part-timer Masa has to have time today off, honestly. First-year student at Midoriyama Academy, a sweet young man who works as a part-time delivery driver for Dolgen Hut, and sends all his leftover money to his mother out in the country. Lately, however, he's gotten himself a girlfriend and has been sending money back home less frequently. His noodle house job doesn't pay enough to both support his mom and cover his daily expenses, so he's scheming for a way to make it rich quick." Achi frowned. Had she really seen a blue van, or was she just being chatty? Older woman who ran a tobacco shop did seem to have a knack for exploring details. But women of her age aren't always the most reliable. Achi wanted to make absolutely sure. "You swear you really saw it?" "Of course I did. Why would I lie about something like that?" The proprietress let out an annoyed huff. "I'm not much fond of lying, or being called a liar. Hey, I didn't mean it like that, really. Sorry to bother you." Hitomi hung her head in frustration as they left the soba shop. Achi did his best to cheer her up. "Hey, we might still find that car. Let's try waiting around here for a while." "Just waiting? What good will that do?" "It's possible that they went looking for you when you didn't show," Achi said. "Maybe they'll come back, you know?" He sat down at the edge of the planter outside, on the edge of a planter outside of the restaurant. "But the criminals already have the money," she said anxiously. Even Achi understood the implications. Now that the crooks had the ransom, their hostage was nothing but a liability. Why take the risk of letting her go when they already had what they wanted? The situation was bad. Very bad. Still, just running around Shibuya willy-nilly was only going to tire and frustrate them. Achi wanted to make sure Hitomi had the chance for a little break. We don't have anywhere else to look, so let's just give it 10 minutes, okay? He said. Hitomi seemed unconvinced. She looked like she might just march off down Dogenzaka at any moment. I understand how you must feel, but you know what they say. Slow and steady, stay in place. Hitomi burst out laughing. What's so funny? It's slow and steady wins the race. For real? Hitomi smiled and sat down beside him. All right, she said. We can wait here for 10 minutes. Cool. We've run enough races today already, right? Hitomi kept her eyes on the car passing through Dogenzaka for a while. Then she murmured softly to Achi. Thank you so much for everything. Really. You can thank me after we find this van. I'm sure if I'd been by myself, I'd have been too much of a panic to do anything. What can I say? I try to keep my head up and face things as they come. You're quite the optimist, aren't you? Achi grinned. He tried to recall what optimist meant, but he was pretty sure it had something to do with doctors, or maybe glasses. The shy, sweet look on Hitomi's face as she said it, though, made him figure it probably wasn't a bad thing, whatever it was. Cars drifted on by, one after the other, but they saw no sign of the blue van. After a while, when Achi began to grow impatient, even Achi began to grow impatient. This was starting to feel like a waste of time. And then... Hitomi, look! There it was. Keep out! I actually managed to get through a lot of that. Alright, so we still got option B. I thought option B was correct, but I guess not. Achi. Snatched up the beer bottle and swung it at the assassin. Seeing his chance, Achi snatched up the beer bottle and swung it at the assassin. The man narrowly avoided being struck, but he staggered wildly off balance. Hitomi! Achi grabbed her by the hand and dashed out of the club. You sprinted away at the side streets, suddenly Achi began to feel as if you were running a maddening maze. Oh, is it the same outcome? Looks like it is the same outcome. Yakuza looking guys. No harm in helping a couple of lost dudes. Ashi pointed them in the direction of Central Gai. Yeah, it's just this way. See, what the hell did I tell you? The bald man snapped at his companion. My bad, man, my bad. You were right. God, you couldn't find your way out of a paper bag with a map and compass. My bad, man. Get us a taxi. Word. Thanks, man. The stranger nodded at Achi. Sorry to bug you. With that, the two headed off toward the main road. That still didn't change much, it looks like. Yeah. Okay. So what if we asked the tobacco lady? Older lady who ran tobacco shops or noodle houses did seem to have a knack for spotting details. Older women who ran tobacco shops. Okay. Older women who ran tobacco shops or noodle houses did seem to have a knack for spotting details. Achi decided to follow up some more. Was there anything unusual about this man? Well, let me think. The woman frowned, pausing a moment in thought. Aha! A flash of recollection shone in her eye. That's right. Now I remember. I think there was some foreigner sitting inside. Achi and Hitomi exchanged glances. Yeah, I'm sure of it. The man who makes my noodles said he saw it too. Was there anything else? Hitomi asked. No, not that I can remember. That's still nothing.
Yeah, that's still nothing.
Just waiting, what good will that do? Yeah. Alright. So, Achi's path seemed to have worked out quite well, actually. The only bad end he had is, if he tried to, like, genuinely fight the gunman. So, I guess that just leaves everybody else. I could start up Kano. Error in judgment. As he wandered through the back alleys, Kano gritted his teeth. Going after the guy on the bike had been a bad judgment call. By the time he got back up onto the pedestrian overpass, the man who'd thrown the attache case was almost out of sight. Kano prided himself on being fleet of foot, but he knew he would have never caught the guy before he disappeared. He'd followed the culprit as far as the alleys, but there he'd lost him completely. All he could do now was hope one of his colleagues caught the man on the motorcycle. Kuze's voice crackled through the earpiece. Mobile Command Center, calling all units. The suspect on the motorcycle has handed off the case to an accomplice in Miyashita Park, another foreigner. For real? Kano muttered. One thing immediately struck him as strange. Why hand the case off to someone else at all? Why not just escape on the bike? The man with the motorcycle dumped the bike and fled on foot. We've retrieved the bike and run the plate, and we've determined that it was a stolen vehicle. The Advanced Police Communication Center is carefully maintained. By using the digital wireless systems in their patrol cars, officers are able to directly access the station's computer network, allowing them to quickly check to see if an individual is on the wanted list or if a vehicle is stolen. We still don't have enough details to positively ID the suspect. The suspect now carrying the attache case is heading through Dogenzaka, also on foot. We've got him under observation. Dogenzaka, huh? That wasn't too far from where Kano is now. It looks like we're dealing with a foreign crime syndicate that's familiar with Shibuya. All units head to Dogenzaka. But do not, I repeat, do not attempt to apprehend the suspect with the case. Let's see where he goes. Kano nodded to himself. Without knowing more about the crook's MO, letting this guy go for now was probably the only right call. I just want you to know one last thing. Kuze's tone grew more solemn. Whatever happens, I know I can count on each and every one of you. Don't disappoint me. Over and out. Kano had the unsettling feeling that the message had been meant for him. Right. It's now or never. The sudden appearance of this syndicate and its bizarre actions were rapidly moving things beyond the jurisdiction of both the NPD and the local police. Mustering his resolve, Kano headed for Dogenzaka. Kano pulled his cell phone out of his pocket. It was Rumi calling. She knew full well he wasn't supposed to take private calls while he was working a case. Maybe it was an emergency? He decided to pick up. Rumi? I'm sorry. Are you in the middle of something right now? Kinda. Is this an emergency? Well, yeah. So I'm in Shibuya right now, and... Shibuya? Why does she have to be in Shibuya now, of all times? So, my father came down from Nagano all of a sudden? What? Rumi's father, Izuo, had been staunchly opposed to the two of them getting married. Kano had visited his home many times, but the man had never even deigned to meet him? I don't know. Yeah, he told me to tell you that he wants to meet with you. What? Now? Kano blurted the words out with more alarm than he'd intended. I told him you were busy working, but he said he'd wait. This can't be happening, Kano whimpered to himself. I'm sorry. I know he can be demanding. That's not the issue. Her dad offering to wait made it harder for him to refuse. All right, Kano said. But I'll have to call you back later, okay? I really am sorry. I'll be at a cafe called The Trek. It's by the train station. Rumi hanged up. For a long moment, Kano stood in a daze, staring at his phone. As if keeping up with the case wasn't stressful enough.
At last he stumbled into motion, but even as he scoured Dogenzaka for any sign of the criminal, his mind remained fixed on the meeting with Rumi's dad. There was no way of knowing what he'd do when he'd be done with his casework today. But could he really pass up on a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity to get her father's approval for her hand in marriage? Odds are that this will not be the only once-in-a-lifetime experience that Kano winds up having today. Maybe he would slip away for just a bit. There were plenty of detectives still handling the suspect. Taking 15 minutes or so to meet with Izuo shouldn't be such a big deal, would it? This is my big chance! I should go meet with Rumi and Shizuo while I can. Now or never, Kano decided. His future happiness depended on winning over Izuo. He might not have the opportunity later if the kidnapping case wound up going south. He'd just have to make sure he didn't linger too long. He was trying to decide the best way to save as much time as possible when he caught sight of a taxi passing by. He stepped out into the street to flag the cab down. The station wasn't too far away, but it would be faster to take a car than run there. The taxi screeched to a halt. "Careful, buddy!" shouted the cab driver through the open window. "You're gonna get yourself killed!" Looking more closely, Kano saw that there was already someone in the back seat. Well, crap. He hadn't considered that the cab might already be taken. Still, he didn't have time to wait for another to come along. Kano leaned in close to the back door of the taxi. "Please, I need you to let me have this cab. Beggars can't be choosers after all." "No way," snapped the passenger. He didn't seem the genial type. "Please, I'm begging you here. Look, I'm in a hurry, pal. Get your own cab. I know how ridiculous this must sound, but please, this is really, really urgent." "Urgent?" "Yes, it's a matter of life or death. Please!" "Look, I'm sorry, but I'm dealing with something urgent here, too." "Then let me ride with you. I'll pay for the whole fare. My entire future's on the line here." "Sorry, buddy. It's life or death on my end, too. I gotta look after me and mine." I could see this was going nowhere. Right. So sorry to trouble you. Kano stepped back in frustration. The taxi sped away. Kano scanned the area looking for other cabs. Instead, he spotted the man with the Attache case. It was a stroke of dumb luck, but Kano wasn't going to lose sight of him now. He decided to follow. Further up along Dogenzaka, in the direction the perp was heading, was where Yamatedori joined Route 246. Maybe the guy was planning to meet up with a getaway car. No, wait, hold on. If that were the plan, why would the gang have ditched the motorcycle earlier? Kano started to tail the man, racking his brain all the while. The suspect turned down a narrow side road. He was heading toward Yamatedori or Route 246 at all, but back toward Shibuya Station. He wasn't! Okay. What in the world was going on? They were starting to feel like the crooks were just messing with the investigation team. Kano radioed Kuze on the wireless. The police wireless system is digital. In order to make transmissions more difficult to intercept, there were several different channels available, including the basic local channel, a common channel for contacting other nearby patrol cars, channels assigned to specific precincts, action update channels for riot squad, and so on. There was also a separate channel specifically for kidnapping cases, not on the standard wavelength. "Sir, I don't think there's any point in seeing where this guy leads us anymore." "That's not your call to make. Keep watching him." "Sir, this is a waste of time. That girl might be in danger if..." Kano's argument was cut short as he saw the man hand off the Attache case to yet another foreigner. Again? How many times were these criminals going to pull this trick? The detectives broke into two groups to follow both of the men. Kano followed the man with the Attache case, who eventually led him back to the area around Shibuya Station. Rumi and Shizuo should be waiting at a nearby cafe right now. Kano tried to remember the name. That's right, it was called the La Trek. The name of the cafe where college student Ryoko Kakinuma works as a waitress. Named after 19th century French painter Henri de Toulouse-Lautrec,
He created numerous works, including many posters, book illustrations, and book covers, which are highly regarded in the art world. He kept his eye out for a place by that name as he tailed the target. Before long, he did spot the cafe. Its large plate glass window offered a view of the cozy interior. A sign out front read, Lutschleck. Looked like this was the place. The man with the case was at the intersection waiting for the light to change. Kano took the opportunity to peer inside. He spotted Rumi right away. She was facing away from him, so the man seated across from her must be her father. Kano realized he'd never even seen a picture of him. Shizuo grew organic produce up in Nagano nowadays, but until 2 years ago, he'd been a detective with the investigation division. The MPD Investigative Division responsible for handling crimes such as murder, kidnapping, and arson that takes place within the Tokyo metropolis. Truthfully, exceptional officers are assigned to this division. They are regularly dispatched to various regional task forces to aid in investigations, where their talents and experience often prove critical. The position of section chief is traditionally given only to dedicated personnel well-versed with crime scenes and organizational administration. Rumi looked up to her father for his distinguished police career and always spoke quite highly of him. Kano had figured that if he became a policeman, Rumi might appreciate that. It was a simple impulse that had led him to join the force. He had also figured that public servants could stay afloat even in times of recession, and that his physical training would serve him well in such a line of work. Once he was a policeman, he thought that he could approach Shizuo with his head held high and ask for his blessing in marrying his daughter. But after Rumi graduated from university, Shizuo had up and retired from police work. Even Rumi didn't know why he'd made that decision. Kano had traveled to Nagano many times to ask Shizuo for permission to marry her, but the only response he ever got was, "I'm not giving away my daughter to any cop." Kano had never even gotten past the intercom before her father turned him away. Years on the force had nearly made Kano lose sight of what had driven him to become a policeman in the first place. And now the chance to meet Shizuo face to face had finally come. He peered intently into the cafe. Across from Rumi sat an older man with a grim expression. Just who was this hard-faced fellow? It took a lot to rattle Kano, but the guy looked scary. Could this really be this sweet little Rumi's father? The prospect of meeting with him later filled Kano with sudden dread. The man went into the JR Shibuya station and stood before the ticket machine. It looked like he was planning on boarding a train. A scene from a popular movie about a kidnapping sprang into Kano's mind, where the crook had made off with the ransom money after it was tossed out the window of a train. What if this guy managed to get outside the dragnet and pull a stunt like that? It looks like the suspect is going to board a train. Kano informed Kuze over the wireless. Make sure you stay on his tail. Apparently Kuze still wanted to string the perp along for a bit. We've got the lizards ready to pursue. Japanese police lingo for motorcycle squad deployed to pursue suspects in urban settings. We'll re-establish our dragnet around whatever station he gets off at. The man purchased a ticket from the machine and passed through the gate. There was no way to tell what station he'd bought the ticket for, but it looked like he was heading clockwise along the Yamanote line. Kano used his prepaid card and made his way through the ticket gate as well. Officers do not usually get free rides on public transportation simply by flashing their badges, as is frequently depicted on TV shows and films. Doing so might risk alerting the suspect. For this reason, prepaid cards are provided ahead of time. An announcement chime signaled the imminent arrival of a train up on the platform. The man made his way up the stairs, looking calm and composed. He showed no signs of checking for pursuers. Kano hurried after him. The man stopped at the very edge of the platform to await the train. Not ideal. There was no way that Kano to get close without sticking out like a sore thumb. The train glided up to the platform. The man gave a quick look around as he stepped aboard. Kano followed. Trains on the Yamanote line didn't stop for long, and soon they were on their way. Glancing around, Kano noticed other MPD investigators who had slipped aboard the train as well. The suspect stood behind the driver's compartment, staring contemplatively at the scenery outside. The man's composure only served to rattle Kano more. A man in a gaudy necktie walked past Ano, talking on his cell phone. Yes, everything's going fine on this end, he said. There's no need to worry. In his other hand, he seemed to carry some sort of attache case, as the man they were tailing. He headed right towards the driver's compartment and stood next to the suspect. Well, now that's not suspicious. Connor leaned his head suddenly, straining to make out what he could of the phone conversation at the other end of the car. Yes, of course. 225 pages, all fully proofread. 225. Article 225 of the Penal Code of Japan details kidnapping for profit and kidnapping for ransom. Accordingly, 225 is police shorthand for kidnapping. That was police jargon for kidnapping. Was this guy in cahoots with the kidnapper? Maybe the criminals had planned an attache case swap. Kano watched the newcomer like a hawk. But rather than making contact with the suspect, the man turned around and strolled back the way he'd come. Hadn't done anything suspicious at all. Yes, right. Right. Understood. Kano stole a glimpse of the man's face as he passed. He stopped and looked at Kano, seemingly aware that he was being watched. Kano decided to stare him down. Ah, my apologies, the man said. He shut his phone with a click. I know it's rather rude to talk on one's cell phone when you're riding on a train. That's just common decency. The man affected a smile and then headed back to the car from which he'd come. Sheesh. Guess I overreacted. You gotta stop staring at everyone. An oddly dressed passenger murmured into Kano's ear. Blend into your surroundings more. Sasayama? When'd you get here? His partner had somehow found a way to change his disguise. The steely expression on his face was at odds with his anime nerd getup. Kano had seen Sasayama disguise himself as plenty of things throughout the years. Santa's a must for Christmas. Stakeouts with a smile. Keep presents in bag to calm down children in case of... Wait, I can play? What? It's quite rare for Sasayama to actually wear a suit. On the rare occasion where he does, and he's walking around the halls of his home precinct, he frequently goes unrecognized. Here are some of Sasayama's costume designs from his evidence booklet. Use this for train stakeouts. Don't forget awkward smile. Bag of merch. Going too far? Filled with posters and figurines. Glasses are crucial. Prized possession clutched in chest. Point is to draw attention in crowded trains. Tragic expression. Sunglasses. Suit and posture amplify wild animal side. Disguise for stakeouts at dockside warehouses. Let coworkers know beforehand so as not to be mistaken for real thing. Arrest crooks while practicing discipline. Might help to stop funeral robbers. La! Handcuffs up sleeve. For nighttime stakeouts. Plenty of exposure. Hardcore material. Emphasize bulginess in final version. What? Chef. Magician, samurai, and an astronaut, to name a few, but this was a new extreme even for him. When he joined the force, Kano had found Sasayama's costuming antics amusing, wondering where he managed to find his outfits, but lately his quirks had become tedious. You like the ocean? Huh? Never mind. Sasayama pulled a small bottle from his breast pocket. Drink this while you can! Guessing you haven't eaten? Huh? What's this? Least I can do. He handed Kano the bottle, then slipped away into the next compartment. He pulled an all-nighter and hadn't eaten, so he was glad to have something. He was glad to have something. He took a sip. Whatever this was, it was bland. It almost didn't taste like anything. Just what had Sasayama given him? Yeah, what the heck. Anything's better than nothing. He brought the bottle to his lips and chugged the contents down. He suddenly got a massive head rush. He felt a heat like a burning that spread from his insides throughout his whole body. No, that wasn't right. It was an ache. It was a ferocious ache. A burning that spread from his insides to his fingertips. And there was pain. A numbing that spread from his insides all the way down to his toes. Burning, aching, hurting. Burning, aching, hurting. Twitchy, itchy, dizzy, sleepy, chilly, willy-nilly. This was not good. This was super duper not good. He broke into a cold sweat, his forehead drenched, his body damp and clamming all over. He felt his grip on consciousness slipping. Sasayama, what the hell did you do to me? With bleary eyes, he squinted to read the writing on the bottle. But, After a scant few letters, Kano blacked out. The least he could do. Kano blacked out after drinking an unknown substance without checking to see what it was. What he drank, it turns out, was a free sample of something called Burning Hammer. But don't blame Sasayama, he was just passing along the sample he got from someone in a mascot costume. Oh. Interesting. Well, I'm gonna go back to him real quick. There's a lot of these choices that don't seem to do anything. At least on the two paths that were from the previous, time. He decided to look away nonchalantly, but his anxiety got the better of him, and after a moment he turned his gaze right back. Soon the two men were locked in a staring contest. Just common decency, yeah. Nothing else. At least not for that one. Alright. Then, this might lead to a bad end if I just... Because maybe I just get really lucky if I... No, right now I've got a job to focus on. Kano shook his head to clear out the foolish impulses. What the hell had he been thinking? A girl's life was on the line. Marrying Rumi was more important to him than anything. But now wasn't the time. Besides, now that he thought about it, running out on a critical investigation to meet with the old man probably wasn't going to score him any points. Rumi's dad didn't strike him as someone who'd approve of shirking one's responsibilities. Kano would just have to wrap up this kidnapping case a little ahead of schedule. Then he could have a proper sit-down with Shizuo. As he considered his plans, he caught sight of a man with a Attache case walking by. Six. I'm guessing. Yeah. Okay, so. Alright. So everything converged. Everything leads to this point. Everything leads to this point. Okay. This is actually almost at the end of the 11 o'clock. So that's interesting. I guess we'll just go to Minorikawa afterwards. But that'll be for next time, because I've way past an hour now. So thank you all for watching, especially if you got this far. And stick around, because there's a lot more to come.